Yeah. The next to do it in my city, they know it. High level conversations with politicians and lawyers.
What's going on, good people? My name is Jory Miller, and this is Casting Pearls, episode 5 out of 8, and I'm before you and want to be talking about changing your narrative. But before I get into that, I want to talk with you about Casting Pearls in general, right? And also a little bit about myself as well, if you're just tuning in to Casting Pearls and just being introduced to myself. So Casting Pearls is a podcast that I've been sitting on for a while and been very convicted about establishing and creating. And the people that I want to reach and target on this platform is purpose-driven people, right? And I know that that's very broad and that's not very niche at all. I think that's okay. I want to help people, right? Some people don't get into opportunity to a place where they can go and accomplish or get after some of the desires of their hearts, or have a realization that it's even possible, or don't gain certain knowledge into certain points in their life. I want to be able to reach those people and encourage them that it's not too late for you to be purpose driven, to make an impact, to change your narrative, to try to live a life that's honorable unto God, and to live a life that is impactful, where you will leave the world better than what it was when you got here. I am gonna strive to reach purpose-driven people, because many are called, but few answer that call. So it don't matter who sows a seed. It doesn't matter who casts the pearls, who gives the information. As long as the message get there, as long as the seed is planted, that's the only thing that matters. We're all qualified to receive it. We all are here, still living. If you're before me, you're listening to this, you hear this, that means to me that you have purpose. You have air in your lungs. You can inhale, exhale, you're breathing, you alive. That means you got purpose. So my goal, and I believe the goal for our creator and our existence, is to be purposeful. And we all here for a reason. So I want you to get after it, because I'm getting after it. And I want us to be co-laborers, and I want us to go after what we were put on this earth to do, because life is short and we ain't got time for no games. We here to have fun, we here to enjoy it, smell the flowers, but we are also here to get to the business. All right, cool beans. I also want to say that, slight digress real quick, but I promise I'm gonna get into the podcast, right? So I believe that the easiest people to help are those who want it. Those who want help a lot of times are already seeking it, or they're already helping themselves. It's always been my desire to meet people at the point where they are trying to do better. They're trying to do good. They're trying to turn over a new leaf, because I understand how difficult it can be to defy gravity or make change. And I said defy gravity because last episode I expounded on this, but again, like, to make change or do a different thing is very hard, especially when you're one of few people who are trying to do that. When that's not the cultural thing to do, the change you're trying to make is not aligned with the culture, or not aligned with the narrative of the story, or the statistic, or the stereotype, and you're trying to do a different thing, and this thing is good. I strive and hope that this podcast can be a platform that reaches people near and far where they are, and help catapult them in the direction that they want to go. I'm a man of faith. I believe in Jesus Christ. So I believe at some point everybody has interest or inkling, or they attempt to kind of believe. Everybody has a measure of faith according to the Bible. So I want to meet them where they are. I want to be, hey, read the epistle of Jory Miller standing before you as someone that wasn't always who I am right now, and this is my testimony, and God is great. He's the greatest thing I've ever discovered for myself. I hope that this podcast, whether it be strategically, directly, indirectly, through principles, through the word of God in black and white as it is read in the Bible. However, I want you to get there and save my life. So I want to also be able to impact you all. And last thing I'll say, at some point, everyone tries to become better. I hope that Casting Pearls can reach someone at the point where they're trying to become better and push them. That's my goal. Why? Because it's at that point a lot of times that we struggle, we tussle with the idea of, we meet and face the most resistance at this point where we're about to make a change. We are thinking about it, we're contemplating it. I want to meet you at that point, whether it be physically, whatever, however I can, in whatever room, on whatever platform, and say, go this way, go that way, stay on this path, because that's the one you want to be on, that's the one you need to be on. That's the one you are meant to be on. I'm on this same path. And I want to say, hey, follow me as I follow him, and so on, right? So that's that, man. That's Casting Pearls. And again, it's so broad because there's so many people on this path there's so many people that are in this place where they don't know they coming or going, where they're battling it, they're tussling with the idea of being better and so on. Like, there's so many people. That's not a niche. There's no niche for that. It's everybody. Everybody can get something. Everybody need help. Everybody needs to be purpose driven. Super untraditional, super unorthodox, but that's okay. All right, that's that. So, against all odds, what does changing your narrative have to do with against all odds? When someone is against all odds, statistically speaking, they're in a place and they're trying to change. They're trying to go someplace else. They're trying to do something else. They're trying to change a narrative being a story, a stereotype, the story of, how they got to where they are, whether it be their family, whether it be them as an individual, whatever. Like, that's their story, that's their resume, and so on, right? But statistically speaking, you are where you are and you're trying to go someplace else. For me, for example, I'm in the military. I'm an officer, African American. I'm a male from Gosma, Louisiana, born and raised in a city that most people don't know of, or if they do know of it, they think of it as a place where nothing good comes from this place. No one really makes it out of this place. Maybe I shouldn't be before you right now doing what I'm doing and talking about what I'm talking about and trying to persuade, encourage, educate, equip you to go and be purpose driven. I shouldn't be, statistically speaking, I shouldn't be here. And maybe you are in the same situation. You have a job that you wasn't qualified for. You have resources that from your lineage or from generation previous to you did not have, but yet you have them. You've been through so many things, yet you're still in your right mind when you should not be in your right mind. You have the right to be called crazy. People are surprised that you don't have PTSD. They are surprised that you don't have a head full of gray hair, yet you're here, yet you are in your right mind. You have beat the odds. You have changed your narrative. A lot of times, based on what has happened in the past, on your resume, what you've accomplished, what you did, your deeds, and so on, what people have witnessed, who they know you to be. A lot of times people can draw conclusions and they could make assumptions about what your future holds. For example, maybe someone that's a felon that has gone to jail, they have 2 strikes against them. Statistically speaking, it's highly likely that they're gonna end up right back in jail. But the same thing, a repeat offender. You want to change your narrative. Right? I know that my history, my story, my family narrative, who my last name, like my dad's a West. If you mentioned my dad, Boo West, in Ascension Parish or in Louisiana, that area, he may be known for XYZ. You mentioned my mom, you mentioned my great-great-grandfather, my cousins and so on, then they're gonna say, okay, you related to them. I think, well, you may be this kind of person and so on. But if you are trying to now change this narrative, and there are some sustains, there's some things that you may want to keep, how far you've come and just qualities that you appreciate about yourself, but there may be some things that you want to change, because when you think back to your past and what it consists of, you don't want your future to look like that in no way, shape, or form. You want to change your narrative. Next year, this time, you want to say, okay, I've been able to do X, Y, Z, but 2 years before that, I was not doing so hot. I want to continue to just push the envelope and to go further and to be better. You want to change your narrative. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm pretty sure you guys got it right now because you all are smart. My instructor says that in the school that I'm in right now. So how are you going to change your narrative? You're going to change your narrative by having a vested interest in your life today so that you can have a better tomorrow. But this is the kicker right here. While you're having a vested interest, right? And a vested interest being a personal investment in something, a lot of times it's very easy to not have a vested interest in your own life. What does that look like to not have a vested interest in your own life? And going through the motion, right? Simply existing, right? Not trying to give yourself a better tomorrow, right? You just waiting for yourself to expire. If you're being logical, rational, reasonable, realistic, right, with yourself, and you're trying to accomplish something, say you just graduated from high school, say, okay, these are my options. If I'm being realistic with myself, I'm gonna go and take a job at the shipyard, right? And I'm gonna go do this, and this, and I'm gonna work the shipyard for the rest of my life. But I want to encourage you to not be realistic, to not be rational, to not be logical. I want you to think outside of your narrative, what has been. Allow yourself to be exposed to better. And nothing, again, is wrong with the military. Nothing is wrong with working in the shipyard. Nothing is wrong with working in the plant. For those who want to go higher, or they want to just do something different, a lot of times, like, they are confined to what it's always been. I'm one of those people. I was like, nah, like I'm my plan A. I want to go. I moved away from home immediately. I graduated May 2013. By July of 2013, I was gone, and I ain't been back for a period longer than 2 weeks. That's my story, and things have worked out again. But that wasn't supposed to be the case, according to statistics. According to, if I had to be realistic with myself, that wasn't the case. This is a real life example of something that happened and what I mean when I talk about being realistic. So my son and I were watching TV. I was watching a show, and on this show, these two guys were using the word realistic back and forth at each other. And my son, he turned around, he asked me, Dad, like, what does it mean to be realistic? Like, what does this word realistic means? And I struggled. Like, I had my tongue. I struggled to tell him what the word meant. And it wasn't that this is a very small moment, but it was a big moment at the same time. Because at this point, I have an opportunity to cap my son, limit my son, or encourage him to, yes, let him know what this word means, but also know that in the bigger scheme of things, this sometimes, son, can be a bad word. And I want you to be careful about how you use this word, realistic. So I went on to strategically and tactically tell my son what the word realistic meant. But I did so in such a way because to be realistic with yourself is too close to being stereotypical. And I don't like that. I don't like that for myself. I don't like that for my son, nor do I like that for you. Why? Because, what is a stereotype? What does it mean to be stereotypical? Black people like chicken and watermelon. Or white people don't like, they cook and their food don't have no taste. Or they have no rhythm, or black people are ignorant, or like Asian people are, a lot of Hispanics, they live together. Like, a lot of these things are not true, and I don't want my son to take on in our house. I didn't want to feed him the idea that he needed to be unrealistic, that he needed to be realistic with himself. And again, this is me, I may be petty, but to me, this is a huge moment. I need him to understand that there are no limits. There are no caps. You in no way, shape, or form need to be what people think that you should be. To summarize what to be stereotypical means is if you let the world tell it. If the world is in a audience, right, sitting up in the pews or whatever, and there's a character being introduced, and they're from here, their family has this, they don't have this, this, and this, they'll make up in their mind, the world, what he or she's story is going to be like. They'll make up in their mind a narrative based on who this character is, based on the color of their skin, based on their social class, based on their family and what they're known, all these different things. Because they take on, sometimes the stereotypes are the ideals of others, they cap themselves, they limit themselves and say, okay, well, because this is who I am, this is where I am, this is the color of my skin, I gotta go to this school, I gotta to work this job, and so on. And we ain't on that. Not me in my house. And I encourage you all to not be on that type of time either. I like golf. I like tennis. I like to swim. I can swim. I can read. I can articulate myself. I can enunciate myself. And so on. And these are things that are stereotypical, maybe associated with just me being who I am in this world, in this country. This was so when I'm talking to my son about being realistic, and I hope that you guys see the dots I'm trying to connect, right, between being realistic and realistic being really close to being stereotypical. Because again, if the world tell it, I'm not supposed to be where I am, right? You're not supposed to be a lot of times where you are or have what you have if your family didn't have it before you. You weren't born into it. If you weren't born with a silver spoon, you're not supposed to be able to have a silver spoon to feed your child or a silver spoon type of situation, right? You're not supposed to have it. You're not qualified to have it because you weren't born into it. That's not the stereotype for you. I ain't on that. So because I don't like stereotypes, I don't condone them. I don't tolerate them. I don't want that for my child either. Now, I don't like the word realistic. I don't like the word logical, nor do I like the word to be rational. I'm a dreamer. I think in the military, since I got there, my peers and leaders will also look at me and say, Jory, man, you came in here into this organization, you are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but all that is going to change. Give it 2 years of being in this organization or being in the army or being wherever, then you won't be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed any longer. I don't want that for my son. I don't want that for myself. No way. I'm still bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I'm still a dreamer. I still think that I can have what is unrealistic. I'm not going to be logical. I'm not going to be rational, right? Because to be that is I might as well, why have a hope for better if you're going to be logical, rational, and realistic? Like I don't want you to accept that for yourself. Take the lemons off, take the caps off. We ain't doing that like in 2024. Like that's not what's up. That's not the move. That's all I got to say about changing the narrative. To bring it full circle, if you feel as though your story up to this point, if you don't like it, if you don't like what has been written, the things that you've done, the things that you've said, the way you've been presented to the world, who people know you to be, the identity that you have created for yourself, you don't like that, you don't like the fruit of your actions or your deeds and so on, you can change that. So I want you to change that. You deserve better. And again, but all this starts with, in your mind, changing the narrative, desiring a better story, a better ending, no matter what has already been told or what has already happened. So this is Jory Miller signing out. This is episode 5 of series 1 entitled Against All Odds. You all be blessed. Go change the narrative. Peace.